My name is Zakia and I'm the founder of Invisible Edinburgh. Last year an idea popped into my head after a visit to Greece where I met the incredible team from Sharia being the street paper of Greece. And what they were doing is that they had alternative tour of Athens that they would offer to the public, and the tours were done by some of the street vendors who would show a side of the city that no one else had ever seen from their own perspective. After returning to Scotland, I thought we could try it out and do it in Edinburgh, where I live, and this is how the idea started growing slowly but surely. Invisible Edinburgh trains people who come from all walks of life and may have experienced homelessness before to become walking tour guide of their own city. So the tours we want to show are local, social and friendly. They show you a side that as a person living in Edinburgh you may not know, or as a person visiting Edinburgh you want to see some places people use, some hidden corners, some streets people have been along. The idea being that we want to connect tourists and locals and people who live here with each other and create a friendly and social environment.
I'm Stuart, I'm 29, I'm from Edinburgh and I've lived in Edinburgh most of my life. I heard about this project through a friend and I thought it'd be a good idea to come along, see what it's about and meet new people.
My name is Elizabeth Mackay and I got involved in Invisible Edinburgh through Zach, who I met doing my volunteer work, and I thought it was a good project to take part in. We've had tour guides in and they've been telling us about the history of Edinburgh, and we've been doing confidence building, and this is the third session so far. And I've learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot.
I'm George. I'm part of the Invisible Edinburgh tourist team. Got involved with it through Social Bite when Zach asked us if I'd be interested in tourism, and I actually came onto this course to do tourism and get like some more tourism skills and do a bit of training.
Course is good, been good, really good. Last week we were at the storytelling centre up down the high street and we had a tour guide and crisis come on to tell us a bit of history and that kind of thing. So that was really good. Learnt a couple of new things, which was good. So I've never actually been a tour guide, but I'm looking forward to meeting new people and hopefully show them Edinburgh how I'd see it.
My name's James Gaffilan and I work for Crisis, which is a national homeless agency, and we deliver a lot of education and learning programs for people who are homeless. And I'm involved in this project through delivering sessions on confidence building and conflict resolution. Hopefully through this the guys will develop more confidence. I think this project itself is a great opportunity to develop three key areas in personal development, personal effectiveness and employability skills. And by that I mean confidence, self-esteem, motivation and time management skills, assertiveness, coping with stress, having some purpose in life, and then through practical experience and actually doing the job, which really helps for future job seeking and hopefully employment at the end of it.
We want to provide all sorts of different skills for people to get so they can manage a group of tourists in the city and show them a different side of that city where they live or where they've lived for so many years for some of them. And those skills are self-confidence, managing a group, public speaking, all those things that sometimes we may think are easy or we may take for granted but are actually quite difficult to gain when you come from difficult backgrounds. And the idea is really to nurture people so they are confident enough to go out there and show random tourists people they've never met before, something they're passionate about. So now we are 3 weeks into the training. It's quite interesting to see how it's developed for the guides, what they want to show of the city. So for instance, Biffy wants to talk about powerful, independent women, which I think is quite interesting because I identify her as one, but she definitely doesn't identify herself as one. So we're all working on why is it that you chose that theme over another. And of course, I think there's always value in offering a project to get into for people. You always have to remember that when you are out of a job or out of education, or you've got issues, you've been homeless before, or you may still be homeless, it's quite hard to get involved in something and feel motivated and passionate about something. And there's two elements. There's like isolation that happens really, really quickly, and lack of motivation for anything. So seeing them turning up every week and being motivated and talking about it so much and being excited for the future is really good, because this is this type of attitude that I hope we can continue create and we can have for other things in the future.
I'm doing my training on powerful women through the olden days because I'm the only woman of the group, and it was quite interesting to find out all that stuff.
Well, I cycle quite a bit around Edinburgh, and there's bits that you pick out, so well, I'd like to show people a bit of that.
I'd show them the charity side of the tours.
The aims, I think, of the Invisible Edinburgh is to work with homeless people, and Crisis have a good record of doing that, and we currently deliver a lot of training and education in Edinburgh, so it's a good fit, it's a natural fit.
I think the inspiration was big enough for me to take it on and say, okay, I think now is the time. And the inspiration, but also the motivation. And the same way that I hope I can inspire a Biffy, a George Stewart, I've been inspired in the past. And I think if that's built enough, then there comes a point when you're like, okay, now I'm ready. And I think this is what I have felt personally as a founder. And then this is why it started being created, and all the circumstances were right. All the people were willing to help and ready to help, whether that's the Big Issue or the Sarinians or Crisis. It all felt right. It's a bit like a love story, it happens at the right time, at the right place. This has happened at the right time, at the right place, and so far so good. So probably was the right decision to make. My aim would be to do another round of training, because at the moment we're piloting it. So we have 4 guides that hopefully will go through and we'll do tours. So we'll have 4 different guides doing 4 different tours, because the tours are also personalised to them as to what they like, what they want to show. Once we start having tours and there's a demand or there's a success there, we will need more guides. So that's a short-term goal, and we will also need guides in other languages. Edinburgh being Edinburgh, I've already started working on maybe having a Spanish-speaking training and guides for people who either come from Spain or locals who are Spanish and want to see this city too. And then of course a longer-term goal would be to take it to Glasgow, would be to take it to other cities, would be to take it to France, where I'm from, and would be to develop more projects around the idea that we can connect with people that are from different backgrounds, that are different paths. So I want to create more events around this idea that I can share my story with you and you can share your story with me, and we may be total randoms and have very, very different lives, but we may still connect. So I'm looking into other more creative projects like interactive tours or festivals or things like that would bring people together from the homeless community and the general public. The more projects and the more events we can create, then the better.